Hey there, Libra. Welcome to your reading for this week. This week you start with the dog and the moon. So the dog can represent loyalty and the moon can represent emotions. But, this can represent dealing with a person who is, has certain emotions and they could be good or bad. We'll have to see what's going on here. And so far it looks pretty good because you have the Two of Cups right here. So if you're looking for love, this could represent, and we have the Ace of Cups, which is great. This could be a person who has a strong emotional connection towards you or, wants to develop an emotional connection, with you. Again, the dog and the moon together in Lenormand, we definitely, pay very close attention to combinations. And so, it can be a little bit challenging, this combination, because it can say that you're attracting someone who's like emotionally needy or, who is maybe too emotional, any of that stuff. It looks pretty good minus these two cards. We'll have to see what's going on, with those two cards, but the rest of it, looks pretty positive. So, we'll just see what comes up here. As always, you start as yourself. I feel like you've been getting the Justice card, which is you in your readings quite a bit in the recent past. So, whenever you show up as yourself, it puts you in a position of power and strength, and it says you can get whatever you want from the reading. So, definitely very positive. The Justice card would definitely say pay attention to cause and effect, especially in connections. Like if you give, are you getting something back or, is the energy for the most part balancing out? If the answer is no, then I would definitely make a change, but if it is, then, that could be very positive. You have the Two of Cups. Two of Cups can be a perfect match. Now, Two of Cups is usually different than your usual type, so, this could be a person who's different. You do have the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Swords here. I feel like someone was hurt, whether it's you or them. Take it how it resonates. Could be both people. Five of Pentacles, both people are left out in the cold, and sometimes I do feel that the Five of Pentacles says it's like two people that have been through something very similar coming together. Now, with the Three of Swords, you're going to have to make sure that both people are healed. But, the Two of Cups in general is pretty positive. Two of Cups can start as communication, and you also have the Eight of Wands as well showing up next to the Ace of Cups in your reading. So I feel for some of you, this could be a connection or a new connection that starts with communication. On top of all that, if you are just trying to heal in general, I'm not talking about love here, although, that could be part of it, but I'm talking about you, not anyone else. The Two of Cups can be you and your higher self, so it's a great card for making sure that you're listening and paying attention to like signs, symbols, synchronicities, messages that you get in your dreams or your daydreams. All those things are going to be very important with this card. You have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is about seeing things clearly for the first time. So she has clouds only halfway up her body, and she can see the future more clearly. So I feel that you are seeing life just more clearly. And the good news is we go up from the Five of Pentacles to the Eight of Wands. I kind of like going from like a card like the Five of Pentacles to the Eight of Wands. It would really say that you're moving forward, you're making moves or you're moving away from this energy. And with the Queen of Swords here, it could just say that you're finally seeing like if you did go through a hurt or some sort of difficulty or pain, you could be seeing like why it happened. And sometimes closure obviously allows us to move forward and, some of you could be receiving closure at this time, and obviously that would be good. With the Justice card, you have the Nine of Cups. Yeah, the more you focus on your own fulfillment, the better. Nine of Cups can be a card of wish fulfillment or making a wish. I would make a wish based off this reading. I mean, you end with the Wheel of Fortune, so why not, right? The Wheel of Fortune is like, just making a wish and seeing what happens. So I would make a wish. But, the Nine of Cups is all about personal fulfillment, and, I would focus on sitting in that fulfilled energy. With the Two of Cups, you have the Ace of Pentacles. So yeah, this looks good. Definitely could be a really solid offer coming in for you. Ace of Pentacles, I always say, is just something that has potential and which means nothing. Potential means what you put in is what you're going to get out. So, if you take the time to nurture something that is being guided to you, if you take the time to nurture it into existence, then it definitely could turn into something great. And we have two aces here, which also is very positive. Two aces is a yes to any question that I have answered, but that looks pretty good. With the Queen of Swords, you have two cards. You have the Chariot and then Can of Wands. This is like a new adventure. The chariot driver is leaving the city behind, and he doesn't really know where he's going, but he has stars in his canopy, moons on his shoulders, and it represents the fact that he is in alignment with exactly what he wants energetically. So that Nine of Cups is going to be very important for you. Again, I think like one of the quick tricks to success right now at this time with our energy is to get into alignment with what we want. We have to adopt the habits, we have to adopt the energy, we have to adopt the mindset of the thing that we want, and then we will have it. So I would get into alignment. Knight of Wands is just go with the flow in some ways, because the Knight of Wands is about starting an adventure or going on an adventure. He doesn't necessarily know what's going to happen on his adventure, but I look at him as the true builder in the tarot. If he doesn't have something on his journey, he will just build it as he goes. So having the attitude of just, being willing to see how things go. If you are going on any new ventures at all, period, could be a good thing. Next, in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this future card. It says you have perfect clarity in a situation. Trust your inner knowingness. Queen of Swords definitely says that you have perfect clarity on your situation. You have this unrevealed secrets. It says what is happening on the surface is not what you'll see if you look deeper. A lot of people get the Page of Swords in their readings. You don't have it yet. That could change. But the Page of Swords says we can't just skim the surface of something. We have to go deep and really explore the things that we're interested in. Or if we meet a new person, we can't just look at the surface level of the person. We really have to, get to know people in our lives, and we have to kind of be willing to be curious and ask the right questions. And if we do that, then things will go very well. You have the Ace of Cups, the Five of Pentacles, and the Emperor. The Ace of Cups is about your emotions overflowing. I always say the Ace of Cups is a self-filling cup. It can just easily reach down into the water below it and fill itself back up. So I feel for a lot of you that fulfillment or focusing on fulfillment would be a good idea with the Ace of Cups. I feel like doing things that create more fulfillment in your life would be a good idea with the Ace of Cups. Of course, more activities, and a lot of people have been getting this for the past, now. All of a sudden, all this fulfillment stuff has been coming up. And I know it sounds obvious, but how are you fulfilled right now? And if the answer is no, I would do anything you can to bring more fulfillment now. It doesn't have to be perfect, and we're never going to be truly 100% fulfilled, but, creating those improvements will make your life better, and that's what I would do with the Ace of Cups. Definitely could be a love offer coming in for you. Again, the one little warning I have here is going to be the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. I always tell people, be careful if you're getting involved with a person who is not fully healed. And there's nothing wrong with telling a person when you're done healing, then come talk to me, right? There's nothing wrong with doing that. So if someone, especially if someone's acting weird, I don't really have any good examples, but I'm sure you've all dated a person where it's maybe they're a little bit withdrawn, maybe they're not as communicative. Maybe they are not as engaging as they should be in the connection, and probably because they were hurt. So maybe they're holding back so they don't get hurt. And again, I think there's nothing wrong with calling that behavior out because, two things will happen, or maybe three things. Either they'll fix it right then and there and they'll say, sorry, I went through something and I'll change, right? And if they do, great. The other thing is they'll go away and they'll heal and they'll come back. The other thing is they'll just leave. And, all three of those things are a win in my book. So, because, even if they leave, at least you didn't waste your time. The other thing I would be careful of is someone who is overly emotional with that Moon card and the Dog card. And we're talking about unhealthy emotions, and we're not talking about someone who's emotional in a healthy way. So, again, someone who flies off the handle, someone who gets angry quickly, someone who has too much road rage, whatever it is, I would be careful of that, as well, and I would take that as a warning. You have the Emperor here, but again, pretty good. Emperor is usually in control. So again, I feel that you could be attracting an Emperor or an Empress type person into your life. The Emperor also encourages us to take control of our own life. And what I would be taking control of, Libra, if I were you, is change. We go Temperance to the Wheel of Fortune. It's like you have a great opportunity to take control of your destiny with the Wheel of Fortune. And that's exactly what I would do. The Wheel of Fortune is your destiny, how you see it. I always say the Wheel of Fortune is your personal vision for your life. We all have ideas, we all have goals, dreams, all that other stuff. The Wheel of Fortune is saying, can you get the wheel to spin in the right direction? And sorry, I was petting my dog and like one of her hairs is stuck to my nose and it's itching, so there you go. With the Ace of Cups, you have the Moon. The Moon, again, overly emotional, so I would be careful of that energy. The Moon, we have this lobster right here. And that lobster represents needing to release your emotional armor. To get into something, we have to be willing to be vulnerable, and we have to be willing to get hurt with a person to truly, be open in the first place, right? And so that's what I would encourage you to do. This could be you as well, not a criticism, but, I would be making sure that you're not wearing too much emotional armor and make sure that you're letting someone in, only if you want love, obviously. But, this card, the Moon, sometimes says we have to be vulnerable or we have to be willing to be vulnerable. With the Five of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Pentacles. You always get the Queen of Pentacles with me, I'm pretty sure. And the Queen of Pentacles is about gathering your resources or increasing your resources. I think it would be an amazing, obviously, you keep getting this card with me, so I think it would be an amazing time to increase your resources or gather more resources in some way. With the Emperor, you have the Four of Swords. Yet every single person lately has had the Four of Swords, so definitely would be an amazing time to rest, relax, recover, and heal. I do think that we just entered into the year of the snake today, and tomorrow marks the continuation of that energy, which is all about health, like needing to watch your health, but also healing. So, I think we are in a good time for healing in general. Next, in the area of messages from your future self, you have this Building Blocks card and this Higher Power card. I love this Building Blocks card. There are these blocks that are falling around this girl here, and they're lifting her up. And so it kind of represents all the experiences, and sure, all of the experiments that you run in life are all adding up to something. They are all kind of lifting you up on this pedestal. The Higher Power card is definitely about listening to your higher self, and again, Two of Cups is a card of you and your higher self. You have the Eight of Wands, Three of Swords, and the Temperance card. Eight of Wands is a card of quick success or quick movement, so I feel a lot of you could be making quick moves towards new ideas or new things in your life. And, a lot of people have had this Eight of Wands energy in their readings as well, so, we might be noticing how things are moving quicker. In the near future, Mars goes direct, which will definitely speed things up. Mars retrograde is notorious for making things slow. And speaking of the Chinese New Year, we were in the Year of the Dragon previously. The Year of the Dragon was very kind of foundational energy, where it's we are the Year of the Dragon, I think, ask people to put work in but not get a result right away. But that's not a bad thing, because it's the work that you did will lead to big results in the near future. So, I feel that people are going to start to notice that things are actually speeding up, and you could be noticing that work that you did here was actually worth it. You could be finally getting those results, which is great. You have the Three of Swords again. Three of Swords can be heartbreak or sadness, but I really don't feel that here. I feel more like if you are heartbroken, you've already been heartbroken. If the other person is heartbroken, they've already been heartbroken. I am seeing this as something that needs to be healed. With the Three of Swords, those swords have to be removed from our own heart. We have to heal our heart to heal with the Three of Swords, and that's exactly what I would do with this card. It's make sure you're healed, make sure you are doing things to heal. All that would be a good idea. You have the Temperance card. It's you have this opportunity to change or something. It's I'm not getting, sure, the Temperance card can represent alchemy, turning one thing into another, but it's popping into my head as something different. I can't quite get it, but, I feel like you are being given this great opportunity to create great change in your life, and that's exactly what I would do with the Temperance card. Or it's you're being given the opportunity to create a turnaround. With the Eight of Wands, you have the Death card. Death can, of course, represent a transformation. The Death and the Temperance card together, so there's a big transformation coming in for you. And this could be things speeding up in your life. This can also represent clarity. And I do feel there could be clarity. With the Eight of Wands, this could be clarity. With the Three of Swords, definitely time to heal. So, you're the snake. You're shedding your skin, right? So it could be a great time to just leave all those hurts in the past, and to move forward with confidence. Bold energy with the Emperor. And it might be a great time to work on those things. There's plenty of things you can do to heal. There are 900 billion videos on YouTube, and about half of those are about how to heal from about everything. So, you can learn this stuff for free just by doing a little research. So if you went through something, if you don't understand something that happened to you, I would research it so you can heal and move on. I think it would be a great time for you to do that here, Libra. With the Temperance card, you have the King of Cups. This is a very different person than you're used to, is what I would say. I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I'm not sure how you feel about it. If I don't know things, I don't know everything, that's for sure. And if I don't know something, I just say it. I don't know. Like, it looks good, right? You know, the cards, Two of Cups, you have a little bit of weird stuff here with the Five of Pentacles and Three of Swords, but, you know, it looks good. I feel maybe it's just a different type of person than you're used to. It's almost like this person is popping into my head as like, I feel like they are unusual in the sense that they could be like brutally honest. They could be but it's like they're so honest that you almost don't believe it, you know, is kind of the intuitive feeling that I get off of this person. The King of Cups has explored his emotions to a very deep level. So the King of Cups is not surrounded by any negative cards except for the Three of Swords there. And you know, that's how I read. You know, people always ask me why I don't read reversals, and I do give reverse meanings all the time. So if you pay attention, I do read reversals, they're just not in reverse. I know, mind-blowing, right? But I read intuitively, and also I read holistically. I take every single card into account, everything that's surrounding the card. So, you know, that's how I read, and there's nothing really negative connected to this King of Cups. What I would say with all this emotional stuff here is that sometimes King of Cups people, they can come off as having no emotions, but they actually have explored their emotions so deeply that they are just in really good control of their emotions. And so, you know, that could be a little weird. It's like maybe you're used to being able to, you know, create one of those fights in a connection, but maybe this person doesn't fight. Or maybe they are just like very straightforward in their communication in a fight, and you can't get them emotional, which could be a little bit weird, right? Could be a little bit unusual. So, that's definitely popping into my head, but that could be a good thing or bad. I don't know. It depends on what you're into. In the area of the good stuff, you have this OPP gate card. It says opportunities and home. You also have this distance and journey card. The snake represents a lot of travel, so, you know, I think a lot of people could be traveling or wanting to move around during this time. I feel that a lot of you could be getting opportunities at home that kind of expand away from the home as well. I see a lot of that energy for people just in general. I mean, I've literally said this a lot during the yearly readings that I did recently, that it seemed to me like a lot of people could be starting things that expand past like what they think. You know, so it's like if you start a business from home, maybe it's something that goes global, you know, or something like that. So I think working on those types of projects is a good idea. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have the Seven of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune. Seven of Swords in the good stuff would represent finding a different way to do things. He is stealing these swords from an army in the background here, so he's going to war, but in a different way. Again, this is another superpower that I think people should be embracing for the next long stretch of time because of Pluto in Aquarius. If there is a better way to do something, do it that way. And it's not going to magically appear in front of your face. You're going to have to do some research. Everything you're trying to accomplish, I told everyone in the yearly readings the name of the game is going to be efficiency. You should be looking at the things you're working on, and you should be saying to yourself, am I doing this in the most efficient way possible? Or am I wasting my time? Or am I creating friction? The Eight of Wands, you know, one of the actions we can take with Eight of Wands is to remove friction. I look at the Eight of Wands as trying to create a slip and slide in your life. You need to look at your life as a slip and slide. Where are the points where there is friction, where you slow down? And those are the places that you need to look for other solutions. And again, there you can learn basically everything online for free, you know, other than it costing you a little bit of time. So I would be looking for solutions to everything. You have the Page of Pentacles, definitely a new person. And again, they're showing up in the good stuff, so I would say this is a good thing. Page of Pentacles is usually communication. I think communication is going to be very important in this connection. I'm wondering if, again, this is two people who are very different. So if you're going to be with a person who's very different than you know, communication is the only thing that'll make it work. I think it's a little bit cliche. You know, when people say like, oh, communication is important. It's like, yeah, but it's like, you know how much can you communicate? There's only so much you can say, right? So I think that it's like saying that communication is what leads to a successful relationship is like, sure, kind of, but not really. There are better things that we could focus on. But I do think communication is going to be important in this one. You have the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune would be your fortunes turning in your favor. The year of the snake is lucky, so there's a lot of luck. I kind of look at the year of the snake as, it's like snakes can be sneaky and tricky and, cunning and things like that. They're like a snake in the grass, so I think we need to pay attention to things more in the year of the snake. But I also think that, there is a lot of opportunity for luck. With the Seven of Swords, you have two cards. You have the Fool and the Six of Cups. I don't know, I feel like if a person approaches you, you're going to take the risk. The Fool is about taking the risk of looking foolish, but, in this situation it looks like it's going to work out. So, there could be a very playful connection coming in for you as well. I feel like this person really loosens you up, in a lot of ways. So if you are looking for love, I feel like this could be the type of person where they kind of, get you to loosen up a little bit. With the Page of Pentacles, you have the Queen of Swords. We said something about clarity earlier. There is a lot of clarity in the reading. The moon by itself in the Lenormand is kind of different than the moon in the tarot. The moon in Lenormand can actually represent clarity, being clear on your goals, things you want to accomplish. So, I feel like you are very clear. With the Wheel of Fortune, you have the Four of Pentacles. Yep. Good, because the Four of Pentacles can say that you are building a much more solid foundation in your life. The Four of Pentacles, though, says nothing is going to change if you stay where you are. So, to get into those, lucky situations or lucky moments, I would be taking risks. With the Ocean card that says distance and journey, I would be getting out into the world. You have this Finger card. It says warning you of a problem either now or in the future. Again, you're the snake, whether you believe it or not. I definitely feel energetically this time it's like good, but we shouldn't be thinking, we shouldn't be wearing rose-colored glasses, and we should be paying attention to warning signs in every single area of our life. So I would just pay attention. You have this Younger Woman card. It says dealings or relationships with a younger woman. You have this Feather. It says someone you know is undependable and insincere. So if you have a younger woman in your life who is undependable, I would be careful of that. I've been saying this all for this time as well. Mars went retrograde in Leo. We have to be very, very careful with people. Usually Mars retrograde in Leo can have to do with like problems with ego, but, the negative or, the dark side of Leo is laziness, right? So we need to be careful of people who are lazy or who aren't pulling their weight in every single type of relationship we can have. And as long as we just pay attention and avoid those people, we'll be fine. You have this Archway card. It says new opportunities, possibilities, and paths opening up. Yeah, it is a time of new opportunity. I encourage people to definitely take advantage of new opportunities as well. So there you go. You have this Mice card. It says discord among family or friends. Again, I think we're in a time where it's like, if you're doing anything new, there are going to be people who have something to say about it. We just have to ignore it and do it anyway. You have this Bread card. It says period of prosperity and abundance. Love it. Like I said, very abundant time, so I would take advantage of it. But this looks really good here, Libra. So thank you for being here and definitely enjoy your week.